Hey there everyone, happy Sunday evening. I am King 5 meteorologist Adam Claibon. Hopefully everybody enjoyed their weekend. We definitely had more rain again today, the mid to latter part of the day, the rainiest part. But we also had some dry times earlier this morning, and now we're seeing a drying trend again here as we head into the evening and throughout tonight. And that is going to stick with us at least into the start of the day on Monday. Later tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, there's another system coming in, and yeah, it's going to bring more rain, but the big focus is going to be on some of the stronger winds that we're expecting with that into that time. So for that reason, another first alert day. We're going to call for it here into the day for tomorrow. More on that here in a second. Let's talk about the rain that we saw today though, and amounts ranged from anywhere between maybe about 1/10 of an inch, maybe less than that. Port Townsend coming in at 5/100ths of an inch, up to about 2/3 of an inch here across our locations. Now we did see a little more as you head up into the mountains, just coming in under an inch there at Snoqualmie Pass, but nothing extreme, and thankfully we haven't really seen as much of the river level rises that we were expected to see. Yeah, there might be some minor flooding here and there in some of our streams, our creeks, and our rivers, but not going to see a huge issue or major issue with that here as we go throughout the next couple of days. So we are going to still keep an eye on that for you, but really, first alert weather starting up tomorrow afternoon, due in part because of some of the stronger winds that we're going to see. Another batch of some heavy rain, yeah, we'll be expecting that to go along with maybe even a few rumbles of thunder again with some extra instability that will be in the atmosphere to help add that energy to a few of these showers that we're expecting later on into the day for tomorrow. Now this will include everyone here in western Washington, but what we're really going to keep an eye out for as far as some of the strongest winds will be closer to the coast, especially the south coast, where we could see a better chance of some of those gusts getting up closer to 60 miles per hour. Again, more on that here in a second. You see the two red bars right there, Monday and Tuesday, both first alert days. Tuesday, we're just talking about more so the morning, because the afternoon, things should begin to dry out. We'll see things quiet on down, and we'll be improving at that point, leading into our day on Wednesday, which looks to be really nice, up to 60 degrees with partly sunny skies. We'll see if we can get that fog out of here early into the morning to help us out with that. All right, here in Bellingham, you can see things actually quieting down. We had some of the last few showers move up through this way as the showers are moving from south to north right now. Cloudy skies, some breezy winds beginning to take on over, and we've been noticing some of those winds around here in Seattle, currently coming in at 23 miles per hour as of about 7 to 7:30 here into your Sunday evening. Still around 50 though, so it is mild. Here are your winds across the area. You can see generally those between about 10 to 20, maybe 25 miles per hour, so a bit breezy, but a lot of that wind is going to be still on the lower side in comparison to our next event. And as far as your temperatures, I wanted to show you this again, upper 40s to low 50s, but the main thing is that we're still warm enough that we are seeing generally rain up here across our mountain passes. Stevens Pass right now coming in at 34 degrees, or right now at 39, getting closer to Snoqualmie Pass. White Pass is at 38. So that will lead to a bit more melting, as well as, again, still seeing the precipitation type mainly in the form of rain. Let's get back to the radar, because we do have a few flashes of lightning popping up. You see one there across the northern Cascades. We also had one down this way up into the foothills and heading up into the Cascades, actually, here around parts of King and Pierce counties. That right there between Enumclaw and looks like Greenwater, we saw some of that. Now, let's talk about the winds first, because we do have high wind warnings out towards the coast. That starts up at 1 p.m. tomorrow, will linger until 7 a.m. on Tuesday. That includes all the coastal areas, but especially the south coast and heading down into the Oregon coast, where we have a lot more of that energy to produce some really strong winds, is where we have the higher chances of seeing those gusts up to 60 miles per hour. And as far as wind advisories, well, we have those two here for the rest of the lowlands. Not as strong of winds expected, but still could get up there around 50 miles per hour. That's respectable. Could produce some power outages here. That starts up at 1 p.m., will linger until 7 a.m. heading into Tuesday, and that includes all of us here. Generally winds, though, we're talking 15 to 25 miles per hour, and a lot of that coming towards the tail end of the day. I wanted to point out what's happening right here. You see the flood watch? That's been in effect really for the past, I would say, 12 hours now. What we've seen from the National Weather Service is that since rain has not been quite as heavy, since we've seen a lot of our streams, our creeks, and our rivers not quite getting up to the higher levels that we were expected, instead of it lingering or lasting until early into Wednesday morning, they've trimmed that back. Now those will last until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, and that flood watch will be allowed to expire. So we've seen some improvements right there. Still be careful and still be aware if you're living by any of those bodies of water, because you want to keep an eye out for that. But I think generally that's not going to be a huge concern for us as we head over the next 24 to 48 hours. All right, now let's talk about what's happening in the mountains, because this is where those lower snow levels, which are going to help out with maybe limiting some of the melting snow, will actually help to produce more snow to put on top of the snowpack that we have up there. Winter storm warning starting up at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning will last until 4 p.m. into Tuesday. And for elevations above 4,000 feet, we can see anywhere between a foot to a foot and a half of fresh snow. Of course, that'll be great after losing some of the snowpack here over the past few days. Let's first talk about wind here, because we are seeing those winds kind of breezy here into our Sunday night, generally between about 15, I would say, until to about 30-35 miles per hour. That will last with us until about just before midnight. Once we get past midnight and into early tomorrow morning, just like the rain won't be too widespread, we're not going to see too much in terms of wind either at that point. A pretty quiet start to the day on Monday, so your morning commute should be fine. Out towards the coast, you are beginning to see some of the signs of that wind picking up, though, and as that system is approaching, you can see that that does start to ramp up as we head towards the second half of the day. And here we are into the first part of the night. This is 8 p.m. out here towards the coast, seeing some of the strongest winds. And the farther south you are just in general, as you head inland around areas where we do have the advisories, Thurston County, up around Pierce County, that's where we have the better chances of maybe seeing some of those gusts getting closer to about 50 miles per hour, as a lot more of the energy will be down that way, and also through the strait right here of Juan de Fuca, where we have a better chance of seeing that. But either way, this will be some of the windiest times that we'll have with this event. Monday night, generally around and just prior to midnight and just after midnight, heading into early Tuesday, where we have some of those stronger gusts up to about 40 to 50 miles per hour. That's coming through, and you can see that eye right there, or that spin in the atmosphere that kind of looks like an eye right there, kind of shows you the decent strength that this system is going to have. Now, at this point, we're expecting it to be weakening, so by the time it makes its way closer to the land, we're not going to see it nearly as strong at that point. But it is going to help to still produce some of the stronger winds that we'll have with this, and this is going to last here as we continue on through your Monday night into early Tuesday, and then that will be a part of your morning commute heading into Tuesday morning. A very windy start to the day, which might help you out as far as some driving, some of your conditions driving in from the south up towards the north, talking about your fuel economy right there. But we are expecting it to be rainy at the same point too. So again, just be careful at that point. But once we get past that point, and once we head on into the middle to latter part of the morning, winds will start to come back down, and we're actually expecting it to be not too bad of an afternoon into the evening sort of part of the day for us as we head on into the latter part of Tuesday. So once we get done with that, winds will slowly but surely start to diminish, and rain will also be heading its way out of here, and we'll start to see the snow start to let up too as you go across the mountains. But we'll be seeing more snow across the mountains because snow levels are coming back down by tomorrow. We're talking about around 4,000 feet. Tuesday, 3,500 feet, and sticking around 4,000 feet heading on into Wednesday before bouncing back up to 5,000 feet. But checking it out on future radar, you can see throughout tonight and early into tomorrow morning, really more of a drying trend with little happening as far as precipitation. 9 o'clock, you're seeing that wave of rain coming in from the south, and that really starts to ramp up as we head on into the latter part of the morning and early into the afternoon. Once that lifts northward, you can see more of the shower chances will be scattered in nature. Still see some of that snow across the mountains there, across the Cascades. A lot more blue showing up than what we have been seeing the past few days because of the colder air. And then once we head on into Monday evening, Monday night, this is 6 o'clock, you start to see that area of low pressure approaching the coast. And that's what's going to really help us out in producing the additional rain that we're going to have with this system. That spin in the atmosphere, helping to produce some of the stronger winds, keeping the rain in place, sticks with us Monday night into early Tuesday. So thankfully, it might be happening a lot when a lot of us are home and when a lot of us are off the roads later on into Monday night, but it's something still to be aware of, especially during the nighttime hours if we are going to be dealing with power outages at that point. A lot of blue showing up right here. Pretty nice to see that snow returning there across the Cascades, but something else to keep in mind with that coming back on top of a very slick surface after melting some of the snow, we might have some avalanche concerns as we head on into Monday evening, Tuesday morning, and then on into Wednesday before things do start to settle on out for us heading later on into the week. So that's going to stick with us into Tuesday morning. You can see that spin into the atmosphere with the area of low pressure still sticking with us into the start of the day, but then it starts to head on out of here. So by about maybe 11 o'clock noon on Tuesday, much more, or many more of us, will start to dry on out, and we'll start to see things quiet on down. Could see a few sun breaks at that point, with much more drying and high pressure actually building in and helping us to warm up as we head on into more of our Wednesday. It's just a matter of how much of that fog will develop at that time. Check out the additional rain to come. Not terribly high. We'll see amounts anywhere between about a half an inch up to an inch in most spots. Some rain shadowing possibly up that way around Friday Harbor and Bellingham, and this is going to be really specific on where exactly the low tracks. But Port Townsend, I would take this number with a grain of salt. 1.9 inches, going to be really tough to get that. If we have that low spin in the exact right location to help produce more persistent and consistent steady rainfall, then yeah, we might get up to that number. But I think overall, we're talking about some of the same numbers that you're noticing up that way around Friday Harbor, Bellingham, maybe just a little less, but generally should not be too much more than that. As far as some of the snow that we're going to see with this here, generally between about a foot and a half, but as we extend this out all the way until noon on Wednesday, you can see some spots actually might get just a bit more, especially up around Mount Baker, where I think we keep things a bit colder for a little while longer. If Snoqualmie Pass, we might be on the lower end of that, getting closer generally to about, I would say, maybe 10 to maybe 12 inches, and that will be due in part because of snow levels up around 3,500 feet at their lowest. We're closer to about 3,000 feet elevation-wise, so going to be limiting some of the snowpack that we'll get with that. Tonight's forecast, mid to low 40s for some of those overnight numbers, and then highs as we head into the day tomorrow will be in the low to mid 50s. More rain on the way, and again, don't be surprised if you see a flash of lightning or hear a rumble of thunder out of some of these showers, because we will have a little instability in the atmosphere. And then once we head into Tuesday morning, we're still in first alert mode at that point, but once we get past that point, we're expecting conditions to improve for us, and we will be seeing some milder and sunnier conditions starting up on Wednesday. Some showers around generally north of Seattle on Thursday, and then a better chance coming in again once we head on into the day on Saturday. So we do a lot of these updates and these posts on these extended forecasts, and we post them to our King 5 Plus app, which you can download on your TV for free. We have that available for you on Apple TV, Roku, and Fire TV. So if you have those platforms, make sure to go ahead and download the King 5 Plus app. And if you're heading out again tomorrow morning, you should be okay. Things starting off dry, but make sure to have the rain gear before you head back home, and really be prepared for a very windy end to the day and windy Monday night as we head on into Monday night and early into Tuesday, where we could see some power outages, and then we'll see that things will start to improve after that. Okay, everyone, well, hope all of you have a great Monday. Enjoy your first day back to the work week, and we'll talk to you soon.